Veterans Day 2014. See how the nation's heroes are being celebrated here at home and around the country.
Again in Cathedral City, new developments at 11 after another pedestrian was hit by a car.
We're following breaking news in Coachella. One person dead in a shooting. In a story News Channel 3 was first to break tonight online.
Now, live from the desert's news leader, this is Breaking News.
Good evening, I'm Karen Devine.
And I'm John White. We are following breaking news in Coachella. One person is dead following a shooting that happened just before 7 tonight. It happened in the area of Cairo and Tripoli near Avenue 52 and Harrison Street. There are road closures in the area. News Channel 3's Natalie Brunell is there right now with our live mobile newsroom, getting the very latest information. And Natalie, I know you have finally been getting some more information in just the past hour or so.
John, we've been here for more than 3.5 hours, and the Riverside County Sheriff's Department is being very tight-lipped. But here's what we do know. 2 people were shot and taken to a local hospital, and we now know that one of those victims has died. Now, a very active investigation is underway. I want to show you the scene here at Tripoli Way near Araby. There are multiple forensics units on site and about a dozen deputies and detectives on various parts of this street. Now, let me go over what we know so far. Riverside County Sheriff's Department responded to a call of shots fired just before 7 o'clock on Tripoli and Medina, which is about 2 blocks from where we're standing. That's where we're told 2 victims were shot, and one source with the Sheriff's Department said a victim suffered a gunshot wound to the head. Now, both were taken to a local hospital, and that's when one of the victims was pronounced dead. We don't know the other victim's condition at this time. Now, we are waiting to hear if there is a suspect or suspects at large. There was a Sheriff's Department helicopter circling the area with a spotlight when we arrived on scene, but it's since left. Now, I spoke with neighbors who say they heard multiple gunshots in the range of 10 to 12 shots, but no one in this neighborhood would speak with me on camera because they say this isn't the first time a shooting has happened here, and they believe it may be gang related. Now, the homicide detectives are on scene, and with such an active investigation, there are several road closures in this area. Now, Tripoli Way is closed between Avenue 52 and Valley Road. That's where you're looking right now, and that's the location of another crime scene. We are still waiting to find out exactly what happened on that road and why that area is shut down. And of course, Tripoli is closed between Cairo and Araby. That is the area where we just showed you. The other streets that are closed are Cairo and Medina between Harrison and Date Avenue. So a very active scene. We are still waiting to hear more details from the Sheriff's Department, and we will continue to update you both on air and online as soon as we get more information. Reporting live in Coachella, Natalie Brunell, News Channel 3.
Natalie, I'm just wondering, with these areas taped off, is anybody not being allowed to return to their homes tonight?
So far, we haven't received even that information. The people that have been outside have been able to go to their homes. We're still waiting to find out if anyone in this area that's roped off is suspected of anything.
Okay. We're going to stay on top of this breaking story tonight in Coachella. Any new information, if we get it this half hour, also all night on the web at KESQ.com and in the morning on News Channel 3 in the morning beginning at 5 a.m.
New tonight at 11, the pedestrian hit by a car this morning in Cathedral City has died. It happened just before 6 this morning near Landau at McCallum Way. The driver was headed south on Landau when the victim crossed the street not using a crosswalk and was hit. The driver stopped and called police. This marks the latest in a string of such incidents in the past several weeks. Now, last month in Cathedral City, 2 pedestrians were struck by vehicles, one of them deadly. 2 bicyclists were also struck by motorists, and in September, another pedestrian was hit and killed by a car. And we now know the name of the man who was hit and killed by a car in Palm Springs. On Saturday night, 60-year-old Michael Komick of Riverside was crossing Ramon Road just west of Sunrise when he was struck by the car. He died 2 hours later. There's no word whether Komick was using a crosswalk. The driver who hit him stopped and is not being cited.
A man and a woman from Cathedral City are in jail tonight after a police chase in Palm Springs ended with a stolen pickup truck in a golf course lake. Around 8:15 this morning, police tried to stop a truck that was stolen yesterday, they say. The driver didn't pull over and the chase was on. The driver crashed through a gate at Sonora Road and ended up in a lake, as you can see right here, along the 9th hole at the Tockwitz Creek Golf Course. The driver, 23-year-old Fidel Miranda Boizo, and his passenger, 20-year-old Jasmine Vivanco, were both arrested.
On this Veterans Day, a nonprofit in Desert Hot Springs is helping to replace medallions that are part of the city's war memorial. 3 weeks ago, a veteran who works for the city noticed that all 5 medallions at Veterans Memorial Park were missing, and he reported it. Earlier tonight, we reported only 4 of the 5 medallions had been taken, but have since learned they are all gone. The police department says it never received a report from the city. It was noticed today when there were holes in the walkway during the Veterans Day ceremony. Locals we spoke with say they're not at all happy with the discovery.
I think it's wrong. I mean, there's no reason for that amount of money for somebody to come and take something like that, you know?
There's no word tonight on the cost of the medallions, which represented each branch of the military.
This is Veterans Day, and here at home, veterans are being saluted for their service. Thousands honor the men and women who have served their country at events up and down the Coachella Valley. More than 20,000 people packed downtown Palm Springs for the 18th annual Veterans Day Parade, which ended with a spectacular fireworks display. In Cathedral City, veterans were honored at a ceremony at Veterans Chapel. Local leaders, students, and neighbors recognized the commitments and sacrifices of veterans through song, prayer, and a color guard salute.
Veterans Day means to honor all veterans, past, present, and future, especially the fallen who have allowed us to live the way of life that we live here in the United States of America today.
In Palm Desert, a Veterans Day ceremony was held at Civic Center Park. The ceremony included a keynote speech by Lieutenant Colonel Jared Spurlock, who's stationed at the Marine Base in 29 Palms. In Indian Wells, hundreds came out to honor veterans. 9 new names were added to the Eisenhower Wall of Honor. All over the valley, the sentiment remained the same.
So today we celebrate the generations of brave men and women, brave Americans, who above all else believed in and fought for a set of ideals that our nation was founded upon: freedom, hope, and equality.
Veterans Day was originally recognized as Armistice Day, the end of World War I, the war to end all wars. And it's still recognized that way in a number of other countries. But here in the U.S., it became known as Veterans Day in 1954.
Local businesses around the valley said thank you to veterans today. In Desert Hot Springs, Sidewinder Grill served free turkey dinner to veterans and their loved ones. On the other side of the valley, Executive Car Wash in Palm Desert offered veterans free car washes for the 10th year in a row. Many of the people we spoke to today who offered discounts tell KESQ News Channel 3 they carry on the tradition.
The nation's capital was rocking in honor of Veterans Day. The Concert for Valor featured Bruce Springsteen, Eminem, and Rihanna, to name a few. Tens of thousands of veterans and active duty service members attended the show. Tickets were free, with concert goers and people watching at home being urged to support veteran services groups. Veterans echoed that, saying the best way to show thanks is to learn what veterans need.
Veterans want to connect when they come home, and I think civilians want to connect with those veterans, but there just has to be an efficient platform, and there has to be an honest conversation for that to happen.
And it's a conversation veterans say doesn't need a concert or a holiday to begin. We're having a cool night here in the Coachella Valley. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries is tracking your conditions. Ginger, a little breezy to go along with the cool down here in the middle of the valley.
Yes, northwest wind definitely keeping our numbers on the cooler side by our measure. 73 your official high from today, definitely taking down those daytime highs. Remember, we were up around 90 on Saturday, so numbers have headed down right now. We do have a little bit of northwest wind to speak of, and that's going to drop the mercury down to about 54 degrees. You're also noticing a few thin clouds out there. That's branching off from a little bit of a cold front that's now developing off the coastline. As this moves into California, we will start to see some showers for the usual suspects, central and northern California. But will any of that energy make it our direction? We're going to talk about that coming up. My full First Alert forecast. Back to you.
Yes, soon, but thank you, Ginger.
President Obama under scrutiny tonight, but not for any foreign policy.
Next on News Channel 3, the quirky reason thousands of people in Asia are upset with the commander-in-chief.
And the latest on the Ebola front. See how many active cases remain in the United States. You're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader. Dr. Craig Spencer says he's proof that the spread of the Ebola virus can be stopped with early detection and isolation. Spencer, who treated Ebola patients in West Africa before returning to the United States, was diagnosed with the disease nearly 3 weeks ago. Today, he was released from a New York hospital after doctors declared him to be free of Ebola.
Today, I am healthy and no longer infectious. My early detection, reporting, and now recovery from Ebola speaks to the effectiveness of the protocols that are in place for health staff returning from West Africa.
Well, once he was free to go, Dr. Spencer went home to his New York apartment for the first time in weeks to see his fiancée, who was quarantined.
Kaiser Permanente nurses are walking the picket line at Kaiser facilities throughout the Bay Area and Northern California. It's a two-day strike partly motivated by concerns over Ebola.
CEO, millionaires, give your bonus to patient care.
These nurses from Redwood City are part of 20,000 resident nurses at 86 Kaiser facilities taking a stand. They're arguing the company has slashed their wages and retirement benefits and isn't giving them sufficient training to deal with the Ebola virus. Officials from Kaiser say the claims are not true.
Today, newly re-elected Congressman Dr. Raul Ruiz led a bipartisan letter to Dr. Carolyn Clancy, the interim Undersecretary for Health, for the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. The main topic of the letter was on the Ebola preparedness of VA medical facilities across the country. We spoke to Congressman Ruiz today in Palm Springs.
We need to continue to push and demand that the VA provide high-quality, veteran-centered care to all of our veterans. In addition to that, we have to also make sure, as part of the high-quality care, that they use the scientific approach and the protocols that the CDC and the world experts are urging our hospitals to follow.
Other news now across the Pacific. President Obama became a hot topic online while in Beijing for the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum. And it wasn't because of anything he said, it was because of this. You can see him arriving for a ceremony for leaders in town for the forum, and you can see the president chewing gum, causing some locals to take offense. They aired their irritation online, with some saying it made him look immature or like a rapper. Some people also took issue with the president's decision to take a State Department vehicle to the event instead of using the local limousine service many other world leaders used.
Well, millions across the country are bracing for a cold Arctic blast. Heavy snow is already wreaking havoc on the Rockies and the upper Midwest, where temperatures have plummeted, causing nearly 500 car accidents in Minnesota alone, including this big rig that barreled into a state trooper's patrol car. People doing what they can to stay warm.
Wear a little bit extra layers, and I would wear thicker gloves, but I kind of need to use my fingers a lot for the J-hooks down here.
We just watch the alerts, and when it says it's going to be cold, we just bundle up.
Firefighters in Wyoming say this early snow has helped them put out a raging wildfire, but it's a different story for corn farmers in the Midwest. They say the snow may delay their harvest. Wow. Sure is a different scene there.
The billboard business can be difficult in those cold areas.
Got to use his hands. Luckily, no Arctic chill for us, just some cooler temperatures.
Ginger's up next on News Channel 3 with your full first alert forecast. Ginger, not an Arctic chill, but kind of a desert-style chill going on tonight.
Yes, definitely by our standards. We're on the cooler side at 61 degrees outside. Wind is calm, but wind is prevailing in from the northwest. That does mean your daytime highs, well, they're still going to have a little bit of an impact. I'll explain coming up after the break. You're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader.
Now, First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Ginger Jeffries.
Temperatures right now in the 60s. We've got 61 in Palm Springs, 60 for Palm Desert, pair of sixes in Thousand Palms, 50s in the higher elevations. But notice, because it's so abundantly dry in our mountains right now, Idlewild down to 44 degrees. So that offshore flow definitely drying out the atmosphere. But then as we turn things around and start to see some northwest wind, well, that starts to introduce some moisture and some cool air. As a result, your daytime highs were able to come down. What's happening? That marine layer is getting getting pushed way back on shore, resulting a little bit of fog in the morning as well. What you're seeing, these hits here, that's not rain. It's just a very hefty marine layer. Now, as we have pushed that on through, we've got a pocket of warm air off the coastline. So for tomorrow, I am expecting our daytime highs to go up just a little bit from today. We're still going to be in the normal realm, but then we're paving the way for this cold front to drop into play, bringing rain for central and northern California. It looks like it's going to break apart before it heads down in our neck of the woods, but simply because there's cold air and moisture moving through to the north of us associated with this frontal boundary, that means our wind speeds, well, they're going to peak at sunrise and sundown, but it's also going to help our daytime highs stay in the upper 70 zone to low 80s. Notice winds north of the I-10 collapsing by the morning hours, and then we'll start to see a little bit of afternoon resurgence, but clearly your winds are down compared to the last 24 hours. That means with less wind, you'll get a little bump in the numbers, but it's going to be marginal, folks. I think you can handle this. In fact, I still call it mild because we're looking for daytime highs between about 79 to 81 for the valley floor. Coachella, you're going for 81 tomorrow, right about 80 in La Quinta. I've got 80 in Indian Wells, 81 in Indio, 79 for Cathedral City, 79 in Bermuda Dunes, 77 for Desert Hot Springs through the pass. Numbers are going to hit the low 70s, 59 in Idlewild and High Desert, right about 70 in Yucca Valley, and 76 in 29 Palms. So looking ahead, a little bump in the numbers. Remember, highs today at 73. We're getting up to 80 on Thursday, but then hanging out close to normal. Temperature span 78 to 84. Can you handle it?
That's a pretty good span.
Yes.
We like it.
Actually, I should say, can you dig it?
Yeah, we can dig it.
John's breaking out with the M&M.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so can you dig it?
I am a music man.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
He's a lyrical gangster.
Oh, my. Well, healthy food can be good for the body and soul.
Coming up next on News Channel 3, see one farm in Arizona that's taking that idea to the next level. You're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader.
Nutrition plays a crucial role in healing. There's one farm in Arizona that's doing its part to make sure cancer patients get the best food for their condition. These are people fighting advanced stage cancer, joined by their friends and family. It's a program that the Cancer Treatment Centers of America started at their Arizona facility. They've built a 25-acre working farm where patients can plant and cultivate their own seasonal fruits and vegetables and then enjoy them at mealtime.
So it's like planting that seed of hope that maybe you're going to get a second chance at life, and maybe you're going to get through this treatment a little bit easier than you did before.
Having patients plant and care for their garden is not just for the body. Officials say it's for their emotional health as well.
More than a dozen local charities are getting a big boost from hundreds of thousands of dollars raised during the Humana Challenge in partnership with the Clinton Foundation. Today, Desert Classic Charities distributed nearly $1 million to 40 local charities. Find Food Bank, Desert Arc, and the Boys and Girls Club of the Coachella Valley, just some of the organizations sharing $800,000 in donations.
It also allows us to expand the number of programs and the number of children that we're able to serve.
I had the pleasure of presenting some of the checks along with my colleagues from the other stations here in town. Eisenhower Medical Center received the biggest contribution with $200,000, and it's almost that time of the year again, by the way. Next year's Humana Challenge is coming up in 10 weeks, January 19th through the 25th.
And you know how fast the holidays go,
Yeah,
so that'll be
time to start planning.
Yeah. Well, next in sports, find out how two of the Valley's top fighters are teaming up to prepare for their upcoming fights.
Plus a busy playoff Tuesday in girls volleyball. Chris Alvarez will have scores and highlights from first round play. You're watching KESQ, the Desert's news leader.